Hi, my name is Ruben. In this series of videos, I walk you through the sample Pool Doctors application that I developed for the introduction of Gennaro Mobile. In this particular video, I look at the device, or where we've used device APIs, and then incurs inside job underscore detail underscore grid.4gl, customer underscore grid.4gl, and job photo grid.4gl. So I'll show you them running first. So I'll run the application. So where a lot of them are is on the customer. We're reviewing details about the customer, so drill down to the customer, and examples with mail. So click on this button, and we can start a email to that customer, passing in their email address from the customer record. Similarly, it's a bit harder to show on the simulator, but if I was on a real device, SMS or call, we can start that process, but you don't see that running too well on the simulator, but you will see it on a real device. The other places where we've got the API, again, on a simulator, I can't show it too well, but the photos is where we take a photo, and on the lines, again, can't show it too well on the simulator, but scanning a barcode, so selecting a product by scanning on a barcode. So unfortunately, on the simulator, we can't see these too well. Maybe I'll redo this video one day with a real device, but that gets a little bit tricky as well. But so we'll concentrate on the 5 that we could see, the ones that we could see coming off the customer record. So how we do these device APIs is what we call using a front call function. So if we look in the customer grid.4gl, if we go through the actions that were available on the customer, we could do an SMS, and that involves calling this particular front call. So it's call UI.interface.frontCall, passed in mobile is the first argument, compose SMS is the second argument, and then the third argument we're passing in the phone number of the customer and the start of the body of the text message. So at this stage, all we know is the phone number. And so the other one, compose mail, that's very similar. Front call, mobile, compose mail, email address from the customer record, and forget what they are, the CC address in the subject or body goes in there as well. So that's in the customer grid. We had those front calls using compose SMS and compose mail. On the job detail record, we had job detail grid. When we're selecting the product, we could use the scan barcode mobile front call, where there's no arguments passed in, but it returns back the barcode that it reads in the barcode type. And then after that, it's up to us to take that barcode value and do a select from the product table to find the appropriate product code that matches up to that barcode. And if I look inside that lib underscore product, we'll see, here it is. We'll see that that's what that function does. It passes in a barcode and then selects the product code from the product table where the barcode matches. The final one I want to look at is inside the photo, and that's again very similar to the others. UI.interface front call, pass in mobile, and take photo. No arguments passed in, and returns back the file name that's been associated with the photo. So how do we know what front calls we've got available? Well, the easiest way is to look in the documentation. So I'll search on take photo because I know that one exists. So here in the documentation, we've got a list of these mobile front calls that are available, and it tells us what the arguments we need for them as well. So we've got arguments to choose a contact from the device's contacts, choose a photo from your photo gallery, compose a mail message, compose an SMS message, and get geolocation. I'll go back and revisit that one because that's quite handy, and the scan barcode and take photos. So they're all documented in the 4GL code. It's basically, it literally is just that one line of code, calling it with some arguments in and getting some arguments back. So I'll go and look at the geolocation one as well. Job detail grid, job photo grid. I know we used it in there. So every time we take a picture, it's in the defaults. Somewhere I'll find it in like this current file. There it is. Oh, that was there already. So in the defaults, when we're creating a new record, we call that func call, excuse me, to return the latitude and longitude of the current of the device currently, and then we can insert that into our database to say, hey, this is where we took the photo. So the device APIs suggest you keep an eye on this particular page in the documentation so that you're aware of what device APIs are there, and then to use them in your code literally is just the one line call, passing in either a series of arguments or passing a series of arguments back. Now just one thing to note actually before I finish, on the customer one we would have seen that there was a thing to initiate a call as well. At the moment we don't have a front call for that. What we're actually using is the launch URL front call method and passing in using the tell or the tell prompt URI scheme. So passing the phone number as an argument there, and then that uses the launch URL front call to do that. Now I use the tell prompt instead of the tell because it actually prompts you to confirm that that's the number you want to ring rather than instantly ringing that number as soon as you press that button. More so for my demos when I'm doing them in different countries, so I don't end up making expensive calls. But you can use the tell or the tell prompt URL there. Some of these other ones, the compose SMS and compose mail, you could also use the launch URL and the appropriate URI, such as mail to, but I prefer these front calls, and the reason for that is handling what happens when you cancel out. So if you note there, when you cancel out, it returns back to the calling where you were in the program, whereas if you use the launch URL, that's not necessarily guaranteed to happen. You'll be having to use the application swipe within the device to get back to where you were, rather than just relying on the program to take you back to the calling program. So that's a quick look at the device APIs. But yeah, basically all underneath and on action, and they literally are one-liners to say, do this on the device, passing these arguments in and get these arguments back.